Trout by itself doesn't have a lot of flavor, and because it's a milder fish, you don't really want to bury it with a lot of strong flavors. Well, today I have trout with attitude. I'm going to make a southwestern trout with green chili grits. It's going to be some trout that's going to be a little bit crispy. There's going to be flavor. I've got some peppers in there. Now, you can use Anaheim peppers, those long green ones, but I found these pasillas at the store. I've got a couple of jalapenos. Step one, I'm going to grill these off. So I have my Camp Chef grill box here. The whole idea here is to get it charred on the outside. If you don't have a grill handy, you can actually do it over any open burner. Hold it with a pair of tongs, get it charred on the outside, throw it into a paper bag, and it'll soften up, and then we'll chop it up and put it into our grits. Speaking of grits, what I do is I just put some grits in, and I put some chicken stock and some half and half, and then I'm going to put a whole bunch of cheese in it. Let me start with the chicken stock. Then some half and half. So I'm just going to whisk in this. This is going to get nice and creamy. My peppers are blackened and blistered. You see that? That's what your pepper should look like. Into a paper bag, and what it's going to do in this paper bag is steam. There's a couple of jalapenos. Done with that. Just close the bag up. And just let it sit in that bag for about 15 minutes or so. Next is the masa. This is what's going to coat my trout. I'm going to have regular flour and masa flour. I roasted my pasilla and jalapeno peppers, scraped the skin off, chopped them up. That's going over here into my grits. And if you don't like the thought of putting these hot peppers in there, if you don't like the thought of having peppers in here, you can leave the pepper part out. Once they're roasted and they go into the bag like that, what happens is they get roasted flavor. They're not nearly as hot. I've taken out the seeds and most of the rib on the inside. That's where the heat is. Here's some jack cheese. I'm going to give this some more heat in just a little bit. For now, I'll cover it up, and I want to get started on my trout. So for my trout, I have this just all-purpose flour. There's my masa flour. I'm going to give it some more flavor. I have some High Mountain Cajun Campfire. The Cajun Campfire is going to add flavor. It's going to add a little bit of salt also, but it's not just a bunch of salt. Cajun Campfire. I've got some oil heating up in a skillet over here. Then let me just give this a stir. I'm going to take the trout. These are trout fillets. These I didn't catch. These are store-bought, but of course you can do the same thing with your trout at home. And if you don't have trout and you have any kind of fish on hand, this recipe works well with that. I have the skin on because I happen to like crispy skin on the trout. And you don't want to have a whole bunch of this coating on here. Just enough to just lightly dust it, and what the dusting does is it's going to make it crispy and brown on the outside. All right, you're going to go presentation side down. Make sure you shake a lot of that flour off, and I have a few tablespoons of oil in there, and that is olive oil that I'm using. One more thing I want to add to my grits over here that I'm going to bring back up to temperature is a little pinch of ground cumin. And a little bit of cumin goes a long way, so don't use too much cumin. The trout is browned. I gave it a flip, and it's going to be nice and crispy. So you want to take this trout, put it somewhere warm, just cover it up a little bit of foil, put it into a 200-degree oven, keep it warm. I'm going to just put it right here and pretend that it's warm. And with that skillet, I want to make sure that I'm going to get out most of the oil in there, but it's okay to leave some of that flour and masa mixture. I have onions, jalapeno, and I like mine a little spicy, so I'm leaving the seeds in. If you don't like it quite so spicy, take the seeds out. That's going into this skillet here. And this is going to be the sauce that goes over the whole mixture. I have some red and orange bell peppers, just because I happen to have a few. A little bit of garlic, a splash of white wine, and this white wine is going to deglaze the pan and bring some of the flavor that was stuck to the pan from the fish to the sauce. I want to keep my eye on this. I just want to do this until those onions are translucent. And to that skillet, I'm also going to add some more of that chicken stock that I had from the grits. Give that a stir. And once this is reduced, I'm going to throw in some tomatoes and some fresh cilantro. Big bunch of lemon juice, freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'll do that 2 times. I'm going to season that with some more of the High Mountain Cajun campfire seasoning to it. I'm going to add some High Mountain garlic pepper. Over here is the reduced sauce that's going to go on top, and I'm going to finish that with off the heat and just keep whisking this butter, and it's going to make it nice and smooth and creamy. Done. I've got the grits mounded up in the center. I've got a little trout over the outside. I'm going to hit it one more time with some Cajun campfire. Grits scare you. It's just a soft, cheesy, creamy, delightful mixture that you can put with steak, any kind of wild game, quail on grits, shrimp and grits. It's a low country deal.